Hello. Oh, I am so not ready to do this. I'm Verde. You're not at all ready for prime time anything. Host at this is the YouTube channel Schumann Resonances with Verde, and I'm your host Verde Arbusto, and I'm a hot mess. Thanks for stumbling your way over here to my thingamagig that I'm doing here on YouTube. Yay! Good for you. Thanks for being here. I appreciate your being here. Yay! You made it. I'm again a hot mess. I'm Verde. Yeah, we got stuff to talk about. This is a part of a series that I'm doing on like it's a kind of a historical. The overall thing I'm doing here is it's like a birthday offering to people, to my subs who are they like this is something personal for me that's a little bit on the the higher, this is more of the advanced class, right? And so there's a number of videos that have come before this that explain in greater detail what I'm doing here and what this particular video is. And so I will have in the description links to those earlier videos in the series. I've already done the introduction to this one, and you will find a lot of useful information pertaining to this in there. But essentially, I want to give a nutshell version of what's happening now and why it's happening now, and from the perspective of a number of different sources that I'm pulling from that explain the greater reality of why society is a mess. I'll put it that way. I think that's a fair way to put it. Right? Um, Hopefully, really give 222 really give a general overview of, it's called changing of the guard. We're moving into a new age. If it's happening right now, if it happened in 2012, or if it's going to happen in 21, some sources have it at 2120. The year. Uh, it's coming, and to think of another 100 years of it getting worse than this before it really truly, you know, yeah, whatever. Anyway, I'm saying that the time is now. Don't wait, for it to get any worse. It's worse enough now, right? So this is generally this essay, and it's long. The whole thing is long. I'm at part 5 right now, and the section 1 has taken 10 hours plus. Last video was 3.5 hours. I caramba. That was after that I needed a walk to clear my head. And but that was on the DNA, which can a true good discussion on that needs a lot more than 3.5 hours. Trust me. I mean it just really needs a lot of time. And part of that wasn't really talking about the DNA itself. It was I was on some flight of fancy, whatever about I can't remember what. Hopefully you watching will have seen it, remember more than I did. Um, so I just it's a gift from me to you. Hopefully there's something here you can use. I want to give a general overall of what to expect with the changing of the guards, and there's a lot more to it. There's the planet is physically changing and physically going to reset, and I don't think I really truly talked about the shifting poles and the weakening magnetic field and the physiological reset coming from the great solar flash, which is the sun going nova. Um, right? Like this is why a lot of us are here alive now, to be part of this. That we came and started living here and going through the cycle of birth and death a long time ago to be part of this now, right? This is an amazing time to be alive. Yay, wahoo! Feel the whatever it is surging through the air, the atmospheric electromagnetics surging through the air. Um, it's all love from the creator, and you got to remember that it's whatever it is among the humans. This is a offering of love from prime art source creator of all things, of all times, the without ending and without beginning source. It's just always been there. Uh, um, so yeah, so this is an offering of love from me to you, rascally scourges. Who, whether you deserve it or not, it's coming at you live. And um, I I enjoy doing these. I enjoy the live chat. Oh, I forgot to say, if you're new here, welcome. Thank you. I appreciate you being here. Welcome. Thank you. Please remember to hit the like, share, comment, and subscribe buttons. If it's not too much difficulty, hit the notification bell and select all, or you will likely get none of the notifications. Um, the other options aren't good for you, but the all is the best option for you. Just get them all. My updates, my community, my things, whatever. Get the merch. I don't have merch yet, but when I do get the merch, you want to be, as far as YouTube is concerned, you got to be fully engaged with the channel. Meaning, you got to comment, share. I share. Underneath with the options is the share button, and you can select where you share it to. Send it over to Facebook, right? It's a great option for you. But it's the same thing for all of this YouTube channels. The majority of everyone else is monetized. I'm not monetized. And if I was monetized, they would take the money anyway and give it to the musicians that I do the music, right? The Aronmix, right? This is like all of the videos have music on them. I wouldn't see any money from the they demonetize it. The rights for that video go to the music, right? So everything I would get, if my video was monetized, would go to the music, right? I mean, that's how I understand it. I wouldn't get, they demonetize it, right? I mean, I'm not getting anything from it. So that's why I'm not monetized. So not only can I say what I want to, like I don't, it's not going to someone else. Right? I mean, yeah, maybe I should monetize it so all the money goes to the musicians. Maybe that's a fair thing. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so speaking of that, I'm gonna play some music, Aronmix. I played, roughly 10 minutes in the beginning of these to give people a chance to come in. I do this schmaltzy introduction in large part to, like I said, for the, the introduction so that people can get in the door, and be part of this, before the main event, happens. Ooh, the main event with Verde. Yay, we're here. Okay. So it's exciting. Yeah, I am excited. Yeah, glad to see you. Glad to be here. All right. So this is the still the mix from the 23rd. The October 23rd, fresh off the press with Aaron. He came in with one of the earlier videos while I was doing the video, and gave us mix. So I'm playing the latest of that, and we're at 1 hour 27 out of 1 hour and 57 of the total mix. So this is me being a DJ. Oh, I love this. Thank you all for being here. I know I've said that. I'm saying it again. You're wonderful people. Onward and upward. Let's bring it back. Yeah. Okay. Nice. All right. Mix this off. Take the headphones off. I kind of maybe would like to do a video of me just wearing the headphones and, kind of commenting on the music as we go along. However, I like having no headphones on. I like the visual effect of the headphones. Like, hey, yeah, I'm, superstar DJ. But, it's when the headphones is just like, well, get them off. Um, I if I don't have to wear them, I like the ones that cover the ears. Of all the headphones, I'm not fond of the ones in the ears. Like least fond of those. Yeah, I know the necessity for them, but if I have to wear headphones, I like the ones that big, DJ style, boom, 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 bassy beats. I'm old school like that. That's what I grew up with. The shell ones. I miss them days. All right, so we did the musical introduction. Hopefully there's a few more people in the chat at this point. Yeah, it's Smug McFiat. All right. Yeah, it's time to get into the material. Yeehaw. Thanks for being here. The last thing that I was showing is from Astrology King, which is an interesting, this was an interesting article on it. They seem to know some stuff about it. But I wanted to explain to you what, when we're talking about the great month and all of this, breaking up of the great year and, what this, the precession of the equinoxes and all of this generally means. Like there's the objective and the subjective in all of this. Try to keep in mind, right? That there's, from the observer, what can you see? The measuring and all of this stuff and the counting of the great year and what all that how they do that and how they get that and the significance of the ages based on what, the traditional, I'm Mr. Traditional here in this, right? That I like that, Mr. Traditional. I like that. Yeah, I am. And I'm, fairly conservative in a lot of things as well. I had been liberal, but where liberal is like, oh wow, you're way more. No, I guess I'm getting to be liberally conservative here. Not to be political on this, but I want to give you not only what the book. There's a bunch of links here and all this stuff, and of all the literature that there is to have, and assumedly, this is we're going to take what these people say with, from what they say, and kind of form our view based on a bunch of different texts here. It's like this, whether you like it or not, like everything is online, printed online as much as, if not more so, than in the library. And honestly, I wouldn't be able to go to the library and get, like this stuff is all online and an online publication. And the same thing, like I haven't published any books yet. I'd like to. And I'm pretty much going to take what I have put in largely, what I put online already, either in my Facebook, page, or I posted on Patreon, or on my website, or I've done a video of the script for one of the videos, right? Like, just that's what publishing now is, and that was quite honestly the promise and the potential of the new age, the Aquarian age, and the digital technology that in the future. I gave this speech in 8th grade, when I graduated, that, about the promise of what printing would be, that, it would be online where we could kind of see it all, where, authors, small-time authors could get their work seen by publishing houses because you have a dedicated following, and it just is a different thing now. And at this point, it doesn't even matter if a publishing house sees my work. It's like I have a viewership of 4,000 in the Facebook group, and almost 3,000 with you folks on YouTube, and some of the Facebook people are on YouTube as well. And like it's a wonderful thing. So I got a following of potentially 7,000, followers, right? Like that's my viewership, my readership, membership is like 7,000 people. That's not like a huge success, but it's a success. Like I get a fellowship. I don't need a publishing house. Like, and if I decided to, like just really push my own and share it out there everywhere and go to places and market myself, I would get more people, but I don't have the energy for that. Largely the following that I have now is from word of mouth, people sharing, right? So that's why it's important to share this information, is because it's like that's how you build a community. That's how we all kind of get further on in this, is by by just doing the work, right? And letting it speak for itself, right? I think that may be the moral of the story, carry your message. A man is known through the fruit of his labor, a man or a woman, but a human, man is known through his labor, and it's important to, follow through and, work it. So, so it's time to explain what all the significance of this is, and so I think getting back to what I was kind of back to the material where I'm going with this, right? I only want to keep this. I want to keep this at an hour video, so I don't. Let's get back to the what I was kind of going on with this, is that there's we talked about the Mayan calendar and what their long count is. That's 5,100 and something years, right? Which is a different, when we talk about a long count for our current measurement with the calendar, we have one calendar, that's the Gregorian calendar. We in the West, the United States, right? That's all, like that's, the northeast, North America, I get, pretty much Canada, like that's kind of the perspective I'm going by. We have the one calendar, the Gregorian calendar, it's a solar, day by day by day, boring ass 365 day, and a quarter, a calendar that we go by. That's the one that we have now, which is a different system than the one the Mayans have. And even they had a 365 day calendar, but it didn't take the quarter year into account. So it was still a little, it's a hair different, right? But that was one part of one cog of their calendaring system, right? Like we went through a little bit of it, of the shorter ones, the 19 month calendar and all this kind of stuff. The 260 day sacred calendar, the calendar round, right? So I did that in a video already. So we use a different system than they do, okay? But there's still jives with this right here, and so there's a whole astrology that goes with the Mayan thing that we don't have as a backing behind our calendar, and for us this is just a tether to a work day, right? I just humbly submit that Monday, Tuesday, the week starts on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then you have another month, right? But it's still Monday to Friday, is our work day, and you celebrate, you have 2 weeks off in the middle of the summer, right? It's just gotten, you know, very machine-like, very, sick. I can't even say cyclical. It's a linear calendar that just, okay, flips over, and we have days in there where we punctuate to celebrate, New Year's. It breaks up, oh, it's a new year, but it's part of, just like another, it's another day, right? And we feel the kind of the seasons, I think, more than, our calendar. We have winter and then spring and then summer, like more is marking a natural feel rather than the calendar we go by: Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We have snow, right? And so it's like, seasonal thing, right? It's there for a while, you know, um, or the dog days, the middle of summer, we likely get burned, and then, oh, now it's fall. That's how we, in my experience, right? How, we more mark time in a meaningful way rather than the 360-day, 365 and a quarter day calendar, right? The solar, right? Because it's every day, the day, another day, right? However, with the seasons, they kind of ebb and flow. It's just kind of more meaningful to us personally, right? So that's sort of what I'm kind of going with here. Like that the Mayans had a more meaningful personal relationship to their calendar because they gave them all names, each individual, like it wasn't just Sunday to Saturday. It was like there was a 19-day calendar, right? And that got, each of the days got a name to it, the individual name. They didn't repeat, the 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4 weeks, right? How would you know one Sunday from another, right? Oh, what day was it? They didn't have number days. They had named days, right? That's kind of the difference of how, the mental kind of thing of it, that there's a more personal, intimate connection of it rather than 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, right? Like that's the difference, that there was each day get a different name rather than a different number, right? First Sunday, second Sunday, third Sunday, fourth Sunday, a fifth Sunday, like, all right. So that's why they had different different calendaring systems, and that's why it's like hard to translate the Gregorian into their system, right? It is, right? So based on what the people with more expertise in this have come up with, right, we're talking about the closing of the Great Age coinciding with the ending of the long count, the Mayan long count, okay? And all of this falls under, I got to remember, what am I even going on or about all this shit for? This is a historic, I got to remember the historic aspect, kind of the introduction of a lot of like the traditional stuff to this before I can go on with whatever the hell else I'm talking about later on here and all the rest of the crap I'm writing, 3333, crap I'm writing at 3333. I'm so glad there's a few of you who are obsessive about time codes as I am. I thank you very much for keeping me entertained and life not boring in that. Thank you. So we're matching up, we're comparing, and like this is we're trying to jive our research with what the experts say on this, and it's like it comes to a belief kind of thing, right? Like do you believe that the experts, these learned men, are right. And the way you would have to believe if your religious leaders translating the Latin are correct in that and leading you in a right translation to see God, if you will. And in this case, it's to see the truth of what they said, right? The veracity of what the Mayans were talking about, right? So, like, they translated their calendar to the best they could, right? Matched it up to the best they could, their system to our one calendar, their 5 or 6, whatever they had, like to our one, and they're coming up with ultimately they're translating the date to December 21st, 2012. It's like, is that really correctly the end date of when the matching up to our calendar here of the 2012, right? Like the rest of the experts are saying so, but it's like, all right, we gotta, you figure this out, blah 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 blah, and match it up. If we're interested in this, right, to the ending of, right, the actual ending of the Piscean Age or the ending of the Kali Yuga. And that's one of the things that I have up there in the browser up in the tabs is talking about the Kali Yuga. So first I have over on this side is the precession of the equinoxes to explain what, from the Western perspective, what that is, the Platonic year, what that is. And then there is how that links up to the Kali Yuga, which is the ending of that, is the ending of the great cycle, and then it starts once again with the rebuild. It's everything is torn down, and then we start again with the rebuild from that point forward, right? So there's a few different, around the globe, there's a few different versions of what is happening now on the global, the global scene. In the West, on our side, on our end, it's climate change, global warming, to the effect that it basically decimates, life here on this planet, right? It's part of the scenario is that it's going to, extinguish a lot of life based on that, this change in the climate, right? It is what it is. It's part of the death, like myth, the end of the, like there's the end of the world scenario, the wrap up, it's what we're talking about, the wrap up of the wrap up. It's like, what is your particular version of it? Like and at this point, some people are envisioning World War III, a nuclear holocaust, For some people, it's the zombie apocalypse, right? People are prepping for something. The Bible has the revelations, the apocalypse, I'm not sure what you're seeing in there that's revealed. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that you can't really explain in there. Yeah, it's like there's a lot, the apocalypse is probably a better way, it's the Revelations of St. John. That's the name of the chapter, but it's the apocalypse. That's what it kind of is, otherwise called, right? Apocalyptos. I think that was the Greek translation. I'm not sure if it was the Latin or the Greek translation. Somewhere in there, around that time. But all right, so and you can see in a lot of cases, like there's the chimera class of diseases and viruses, which are basically the ones created in a lab, which are a bunch of animal, bovine, equine, goat, whatever encephalitis thing, and they cram it into a tick or something, and then whatever, like this is, like the end game on a lot of different levels, right? You know, so part of this whole thing is to give people a perspective on the tradition. That's why this traditional stuff is here. The traditional literature is here because it's here to kind of guide you at this time. Like, this is the time that they've talked about for way, way, way back, right? This is supposed to be the time where the DNA somehow magically stitches back together to give you a 12 strand. It's, a bunch of ones are broken, supposed to stitch back itself. Like, I don't think ionizing radiation is necessarily doing that, uh, maybe the gamma. I'm not sure if that's what it is that's supposed to be that it's doing, right? But anyway, that's all part of it. That's all part of it, right? And so I've given the, kind of the Mayan, kind of long count, uh, uh, kind of rundown on that. I'm going to explain a little bit more on the Gregorian calendar side, of the, the 365-day calendar that's, marked, the long count, based on the solar count, right? All right. So, every approximately 2,150 or 2,160 years, they kind of figured out to, we change age. That's called the Great Month, right? But we're talking about 8 years. The difference in 8 years, it's like, what can happen in 8 years? Well, what's happened in 2 years? Like, there's always an overlap, right? And so, at the marking at the end of that this little 8-year period, it's like, all right, the new, you feel it, like in our case, it's been 10 years since 2012, and you can feel it. I feel it. I do personally. And, that's all the time. That's the time that I've been in Providence. Well, plus, almost the whole time. I stopped drinking in that time. I'm close to 11 years, right? So, anyway, so, do the math. We we have left the Piscean Age as of the closing of that long count. I'm calling the Great Month the Gregorian long. The Platonic Year is the long count. The Gregorian calendar's long count, of 25,920 years, whatever it is. That's the long count of the Gregorian calendar. Whereas the Mayans have the 5,000-year long count, right? So that's kind of the difference. So this is a relative time frame relative to human lifespan. It's an immense time. So the 2,100 years is a long time to comprehend, right? Just that in itself, right? In the history of the planet, it's a drop of the bucket. So, in a great year, 26,000 rounded up, 26,000 years, for the great year, that's, like, that's a long time to wrap your head around, to comprehend, right? Here in our lives, it's like, my dad lived to be 80, I'm 54. It's like, we have our perspective of years, and it's like, how many lifetimes would you live in 2,000 years if you got recycled, reincarnated, sorry, you know, how many, you know, and even if people, I maintain people lived longer further back you go, you know, whatever, the closer to the natural process you live, the earth will help you live longer. I believe, my belief, whatever. Don't shoot me. Leave me a comment. That's fine. Whatever, we're poisoned. People are poisoned these days. The poison's everywhere, toxins everywhere, like you don't live longer in a toxic environment. Sorry. Like this, the one significant argument I'd make, like whatever you'd care to say, like there's poisons everywhere. Like the plastics we have all around us leach off toxic gas. That's why a lot of people have headaches. And my first number one, when people would say about headaches, like, it's probably the plastics and the sun leaching off and disintegrating, whatever. So, so life now is shorter, as far as I'm concerned, and getting shorter every year. It's part of it. People are being poisoned, and that shortens the life of us as humans, right? There's just no way around it, right? So as lifespan gets shorter, a longer life, longer time periods are harder to comprehend, right? So I'm saying this is a reality of the life that we live now. The society that we're in now is that it's, life is being made shorter every day, shorter and shorter by the things around us, just and all right, and that's generally a topic that's too, I'm introducing that. It's too big of a topic to go in depth about, right? So I will bookmark that for another time. The production of a full age takes decades or centuries, depending on what facet we're talking about. All right, so only in theory, only in statistical quantification are the ages equal in length. However, that's what I'm calling the production. So it's the mathematical length of an age. However, in real terms, there is a buildup and a breakdown, right? So there is a point which, and it's always disputed among all the players, when is it your time to get off the field or get off of the theater, right? If we look at, life as a series of drama, interpersonal drama, we look at the earth as a theater, and, all the world's a stage, right? So if we look at it from that perspective, all the world's a stage, for the players, it's always in question when the end of play is, without a clear sign, a clear sigil, a clearly defined demarcation point, right? So this is, at this point, one of the greatest I'm not even sure what the word is. Boundary issue, problem, parameter, constraint. Not sure what the word is, right? But one of the greatest problems is the demarcation point of when are we finally in the new age, and what does that mean, right? And what does that expression, that ever-present expression, new age, what is really new age, and what is, and I get into this like later on, right? All right, I don't want to get too far afield on this, but we talk about these expressions and what do they mean, from the traditional, view, because the New Age and Aquarian Age are not interchangeable phrases. They don't mean the same thing. They're, and it's important to understand this, right? So there's this point at which people do not want to concede getting off of the field, right? And so in some cases, they're willing to change, morph, they're willing to so-called amend, allegedly change their ways to be allowed to play longer. It's part of the issue that of the ramping up and the ramping down of, getting onto the field. Some people want to still keep playing on the new field that we're entering, the Aquarian age, and they believe that just by, changing some stuff and, some window dressing or whatever, relatively speaking, that they can, enter into the new playing field of the Aquarian age. Oh, we got rid of this or did that. We don't do that anymore. We changed our policies and, whatever. Oh, we fired the people that did this or that. And, a window dressing, changed the chairs on the deck chairs on the Titanic, as the expression goes. And so they figured that, go woke, right? Like that's what a lot of this is, going woke, is they're trying to, virtue signal their way into the new age. Right? Like that's sort of what this is. The new age is a catch-all for, people who still want to do their stupid bullshit under a new name, new title, take someone to court for, to clear their name or whatever, or all kinds of interesting, great, wonderful stuff. Rip down a monument, slavery, like it's part of what, the sort of this buying virtue, virtue signal is going into the new age, that they want to be a part of, this woke community, want to be a part of, moving forward into what's, the potential, the promise, the operating protocol of the Aquarian age, right? So they're entering into the new age, thinking or believing or wanting it to be, or trying to force it to be the promise of the Aquarian age, which is the water bear, right? So this part of the deception of it is that as one leaves, that they're looking to just kind of change and morph and trying to just fit themselves into the new protocol, right? And so eventually the worker is known for what he is. Eventually you can't hang, a man is known through the fruits of his labor. So eventually you're going to produce crap, and it's going to be seen for what it is, right? That's that simple, that easy to put it, right? And that's kind of what, this is a little bit difficult to explain. You kind of have to see this, but I think a lot of people do. That the quality of stuff that's produced now, the stuff, the comforts of our life, from tape measures to tools to whatever, it's just continually each successive generation of stuff that's put out, it's just more and more delicate. It's just crap. It's not made for actual humans that work with it, right? And so it becomes this ever increasing cycle of just crap that's produced. It's just worse quality junkier quality stuff. As the players leave the field, they leave you with, slash and burn or crap, or just burning the food canneries, the ways that the real humans are trying to, survive, regulating out of existence tiny homes, you living off the grid, right? Like this is more than just if you were to open your eyes to all this stuff, the legislating out of your ability to live off the grid, live without being on the power grid, mortgages that are prevent you from going solar or having a windmill in your house or whatever. Just regulating out, poisoning out, burning you out. The the wildfires that oh my God, the wildfires that only take out the houses and leave the trees standing. Right? Wildfire, this crazy wildfire that incinerates a house, turns it to ash, and yet leaves the trees unburnt. It just skips over the trees. A wildfire, crazy wildfire. It's just, there's way too much to even talk about of what's happening, of the ending of the Piscean Age players know it, and they are using up, destroying up, burning up all of the available possible resources, the houses, like all of this, so that the new age is left with, literally, before the earth does its reset. Some of the stuff would be potentially usable, but it's not. None of it is, like literally, it's at the threshold of the ending here of the end game, right? It's just, there isn't any other way to put it. The Piscean players know that their time has come. It's time to leave the stage, and they are not leaving willingly or nicely. They are destroying everything that they possibly can, everything in their path, so that you don't get it. You don't have anything. The shit, the stuff that you worked for, that you're entitled to, that you should have, because it is just simply the proper fucking thing to do as far as God's concerned. Right? Say whatever you want, but that's the vision of God. Like, it's just, you work for it, you in good faith. Nope. It's taken from you through some stupid bullshit legislative act or whatever. The COVID, all of that, the lockdowns, all of that. Like, this is not just, it just so happened and just accidentally or randomly, or just, no. It's all by design. At the very end here, to take your rights, your liberties, your money, your food, to literally to leave you with nothing, and to insist that you be happy about it, right? That is the end game, end call of the, if there's any aliens, they're running the show. That Schwab character, right? The Rothschild, all them's there. It's like, it is time to take your stand. If you are of the Aquarian type, it is time now to take your stand and work in your authenticity, and to find out what your purpose here is, what your end of days purpose is, right? It's just the list of how they're trying to take out the humans and leave you with nothing, and even less than that if possible, to have you as a resource to extract from. That picture is not looking good, right? That's Agenda 2030, I think it is, where they're intending to keep living and going on. They're not getting off the field. They don't recognize that their time is done. They're clamping down real hard, right? And whose time is it to stand up against that? It's the Aquarian people, the visitors, the people who are, the light workers. Like, that's our job here. That's what we're supposed to do, right? And that's what, like, if you know anything about it, like, that's what we are being called to do, is to stand up against that eventual agenda that they're trying to run. It's not of this age. It's not of where we're going. You can't let that stand. and there's a number of things that you can do. And part of it is clear out the ballast and all the crap in your life, all the accumulated stuff and how you're plugged into all of this, and just all of it. There's a number of things you can kind of do without, I'll put it that way, that are luxury to, help give into the system, like. All right, so the printing press. We talk about the advent of the New Age, right? So when we're getting into the Aquarian Age, the printing press was like in 1500, but it went from everything being handwritten to learning, the typewriter, right? Or the computer, right? Like this is a precursor of modern society that started way back, hundreds of years ago, in the 1500s, but we don't give it any thought now of the printing press. It's, Gutenberg's galaxy. It's all kind of lost in it's an antique. It's lost in history. It's a museum somewhere. Yeah, this is the precursor of the typewriter, the printing, printing from a copier, the computer, the word processor. They don't even have word processors anymore. It's a computer or your desktop, it's or a device. So, all of that, but and now that, this was before electricity, so, the advent of electricity started around, the Carrington Event. It was not that far before 1859 that they started, wired communication. Morse code, telegraph was the early means of communicating over distances, right? There's one single copper wire that conducted a signal from town to town. Right. And so one town would get it for, move it along to the next town, this kind of thing. Right. So it was not that far before 1859 that, the Wild West, that we started, communication by wire and telegraph. And the 1859 was the year of the Carrington Event. Right. And if you watched, Suspicious Observers, you would know this, but I will tell you that that 1859 is the year that the poles, the magnetic poles, started rapidly shifting. Right? It was the Carrington Event was a large CME, large coronal mass ejection, that set telegraph wires on fire. It electrocuted some telegraph operators, not to death, but it shocked them. It gave them a big shock, huge, big shock, right? So much they had to take the day off, and I think there was one death that was associated with it, maybe, or something, or maybe a few, not that many, but more of them got, a big shock out of that, right? And they didn't need to charge up the battery pack for hours after, the event, the Carrington Event. Right? So this was a recent, although now kind of lost in time sort of event, right? This is, over 100 years ago, 150 years ago or whatever, it's kind of more or less forgotten these days. But those of us who are into this kind of stuff, we talk about the Carrington Event, and that's a mark of comparison of what could happen. Right? So, as I say, this sent a warning shot over the bow of the inception of the Aquarian protocol. So, part of the New Age stuff, the New Age, oh, what's the word I'm looking for? Guys, help me out. Part of the New Age mechanism not sure what the better word is, but part of the New Age, uh, one of the factors of the New Age is uh, electricity, right? Devices and instruments and implements and powered devices and communication devices and all this kind of stuff that are powered by electricity, right? Voltage, right? So so something big that happens that has a result on has a effect on electronics is important to know, right? So those are early electronic. The telegraph, the telegraph sends a telegram. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So the telegraph machine, it's a machine, right? So it operates by just closing up. It's a simple switch. It operates and closes a signal, and then they have Morse code, code, dots and dashes, create words, and the person on the other end of that knows what Morse code is, so they decipher it, and you get a message out of dits and dots, So so that's part of kind of the thing, the in-between space between the Piscean protocol and the Aquarian age is the New Age kind of happening where they're trying to translate from the old into the new. People are trying to figure out how to move from one to the other. Right? All right, so I think that wraps up that section. We're at an hour 6. These aren't long, but I do kind of go through it, and like this is part of the introduction here, and part of what I haven't done a video on this explaining this yet. Kind of from the ethereal technicians' view on this of like. Because the phrases are out there. What do they mean? What does this mean, right? And if this doesn't apply to you, it doesn't apply to you. You don't have to know any of this stuff, right? Oh yeah, and I almost forgot, yeah, because I got it back without problems. But a lot of people, like, if you're, this I use, before you start the music, I'm just gonna pause from the narrative and go off script here because you guys were watching, right? I forgot, like I'm doing stuff. I forget. I'm duly medicated. I forgot what I'm doing. And so I had hit the wrong button, wrong combination of button. I used a keyboard shortcut. Instead of hitting the Shift A, I hit the Control A. I selected all. And then I typed and I replaced what I had typed with the RON mix, I think it was, or ON mix or whatever, Ron. So yeah, I think Ron mix. So I looked at that. I was like, oh crap. And I didn't at first know what I had done. And I just hit Control Z, which is, undo, just keyboard shortcut. Control Z. The control is the button all the way in the bottom to the left, right? And the one above that is Shift. So the two are really close. So instead of hitting the Shift A, I hit Control A, hit all of it. And so I lost all of it, in place of the RON. And then I looked over and then, oh, okay. So Control Z, you get it back. All right. So I just want to say this. A little more right here. There's a lesson to learn from the technician here. I'll get off my ethereal technician's hat and put on the computer tech hat and just say, in the case of this, like, it's important for me not to use, if I'm doing this as the teaching thing here, it's important for me not to use the the main, to save a copy as a backup elsewhere in the documents folder, right? And then have as my, teaching model another one, a copy of that altogether different. So not use the main version of it and, do the copy. So I always have a backup in, my documents, and also there's usually another one in the website folder that I use, that I post everything online with, so my backup is in the documents. The working one that I use most everything for is in the website folder. And then I have, this one in the video folder that I use. I have in the folder for this particular video, I have the copy that I use for the teaching model, So, so those of you who, because I forgot about this, those of you who saw that and were like, oh my God, oh, you lost everything. Like, no, I have a few other copies, but each one of them is a little different, because I have the one for the website as I post it online. There's a few changes I make to it. So it's not exactly the same, good, bad, or otherwise, right? It's not an exact same copy of it. There's actually a few different versions of it based on where it is, right? So this one here, I've changed it, from the backup, the other two backups, so it's not exactly the same. It's the working model. So, so it's like, no, I haven't lost it completely, but I've lost the one here, but I didn't. It's important to save it often. When you have it like here, each time I add the Aronmix, generally speaking, or change it, I save it, just so that in case, hey, and when you close it out, do you want to save the changes? No, let me look it over and see what changes are there, right? Before I hit yes, do I want to save the changes? All right, well, let me look at what's there. Okay, yeah, that's good. All right. Whatever it is, save the changes. Yeah, that's important. All right. So a little computer and software engineer technical advice for you here in the new age before we enter into the Aquarian protocol. All right. So we got music, Aronmix to 112.07 for our time. 12.12 for our time. Close you. Move it back a hair, just so we'll get back in the groove. All right, so I'm back. I'm here. All right, so all right. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for listening to me for these many hours of me doing this mini series. And as you did see earlier, when I started down the bottom and worked my way up, there was a lot of material. There's 5 parts to this. I've only done, like, this is the, I did the introduction, and then I've done, part 1, which is a historical perspective on a bunch of stuff that's kind of just background, right? And, historical, we're talking about, in some cases, 20, 30,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago, yeah, there's some history there. But where are we going, right? The Mayans are talking about this ending a 5,000 year wave, right? A galactic wave. And what's happening, as we see, Suspicious Observers, one of my favorite, he really has the best grasp on stuff that's happening, and can really, and is the most professional, right? The people he disagrees with, like, he doesn't belittle them and say, oh, you're not scientists. He just says, talks about your research, like, he keeps it to the research and not a personal thing on them personally, and that's what I've seen, just me, right? So, he's talking about the galactic wave. We're coming to the galactic wave, which is supposed to be reversing our polarity, right? It's as universe as we're going to find, right? Our quadrant of the universe, certainly. So, like, their long count ends at the end of this, 5,100, almost 6,000 years, right? That's what, Suspicious is saying, as far as the Dr. Ben is saying, as far as the galactic wave is 6,000 years, it's a harmonic, solar harmonic, right? 6,000 years. And the wavelength is 6,000 years in wavelength, right? That's a galactic wave, right? So their calendar, the Mayan calendar, is saying 5,100, the end of, it's coming up. And so that's what we're looking at, is this flip is essentially the reset, right? And this, all of that essentially, like that, there's no question that brings in the new age, that ends the new age and begins the Aquarian age. Can I say that? We're in the new age now, is this transition time, in between time of getting ready for that flip, the reset, which officially, like that, like the, in the movies, if you've seen them, they have the actors thing that, action, and cut it, like that marks the beginning of, the transition from the new age into the Aquarian protocol, right? So I explained that the new age and the Aquarian age are not interchangeable phrases, right? Specifically, they're trying to pass off what's happening now, especially with wokeism, is that they're trying to pass off some of the old stuff, the old accounts, into allegedly, spiritually advanced protocol. Like, that's where we're at with the water bearer is, it's the spiritual approach. The water kind of, it's different to quantify that, different to, explain it to people, that there's a new, it's just the protocol of the age has changed, that it's not, things that were allowed are just not allowed anymore. It's just not compatible with, where we are in the universal galactic scheme of things, right? The planet herself is changing, right? And so that's sort of what is happening, first and foremost, that people are trying to give a good cover story, right? It's part of what wokeism wokeism is that it's a cover story, right? They're trying to project to you that it's they're good, right? So that's part of what the New Age is kind of. The New Age is ushering in, this DMZ, the militarized zone between the other, that has not been thoroughly discussed and talked about because people don't realize that it's a thing. Of the necessity for this, of transitioning between one to the other. That, although it has the new age has in fact started, right? It's at the point where everyone is scrambling to get on board with the new, right? Right? Oh, get it, and so the wokeism is where most of the people are at and trying to figure out their values, right? That's, like they're not able to look at any of the traditional texts to find their values, right? Like, say, the Bible, for example, or the Analects of Buddha or Confucius or any of this, right? What you would call traditional wisdom. That's for example. And so the New Age is where basically where a lot of old stuff is getting tore up, broken up, busted up from the old age. Tradition is getting thrown out, tossed out. This huge upheaval now. And this is where a lot of the societal ballast that has been there is going to get, cleared up. There's a lot of soft disclosures that are coming out, all kinds of things that are being revealed just on a day-to-day basis. Soft disclosures, people getting video evidence of hidden bases, like underground bases, just all kinds of stuff, like it's part of it is through digital surveillance. I mean, it's a big part of how things are getting revealed, and how they're also managing to trick you, right? I think that's important to kind of, that's in there as well, right? Like you can't dismiss that. But the soft disclosures just from all over, and that's to kind of soften the blow. I don't even know how to explain it. Reality is being questioned, tested, twisted, inverted, reversed, upended, and whatever else in pursuit of progress. Often, right? It's just a time of great upheaval. More, in my opinion, more so than anything else. Right? I don't know. And I think you have to see this for yourself, right? I can't tell you this because it really sounds so far-fetched. Like that, can't be that bad. Like, you got to see it for yourself, right? Again, part of this involves floods and weather manipulation. There's not another way to put it. Weather manipulation, which is done by humans, and cloud seeding and, this large scale operations like that. HARP affects more the weather than the Schumann resonance, just so you know, right? And stuff that HARP is doing may not necessarily show up on the Schumann resonances because of the higher frequency, right? Just the higher energy, higher frequency, it's not going to get caught by the antennas. I'll just put it that way. It affects other things, yes, absolutely, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's showing up on the Schumann resonance charts, right? Just put it that way. And it's important to know that, right? history is being rewritten, canceled, books burned, like uh they're redoing, movies and just everything. It's like, again, you gotta be able to see this. Like, I can't even, it's just so bad. I can't even just explain it. You have to be able to see this. Right? And by the time that even the most stubborn see it, like, it's kind of almost too late. It really is too late at that point. In total honesty, I'm worn out from witnessing this changeover. I am. I'm exhausted. Yeah, it's not time for me to leave this physical form just yet, right? That's why I'm still here. I'm done with this. I'm done with everything, but there's still work to do. So, for you guys, I'm still here, right? Yay. There's still work to do here. That's why I do the massive amount of writing, because time is short, right? And so that's why I'm doing this, right? Because time is short, right? And it's time to talk about this, right? It'll be my time eventually. I can't shorten it, and no one can shorten their own time without it, being you can't do drugs to shorten your time. You can't do anything. You just have to do the mission, do the work, and you can go home, right? That's what he told me. And the window is closing soon. So, the portal, it'll just be time soon, right? And not of my own doing. And so I can, again, go home when it's time. I'm happy to keep to myself what I know, so to avoid unnecessary arguments with others. Yet, as a principle, right, what's been freely given to me needs to be given to those to listen to my words, right? What's been freely provided to me needs to be given to those who listen to my words. Right? That makes sense, I think. Yeah. If it doesn't, write it in the comment. And that doesn't make any sense. But I believe it does, right? And it's like I said, it's just it's easier to keep the stuff to myself and all of it, right? Than to make these videos. I have to them because I like doing them. 48% like doing them, but mostly it's for you guys, right? For those of you who need to, which one of every of you need to know this, that that you have this information, right? The stuff that no one else is going to talk about or think about or tell you about or knows about or whatever. It's like, it's just part of what the job is. My job is, right? Right? It's just time. It's time to let some of this stuff out. Right? So, all right. So, with that said, we're at 134. Yeah, we're done right here with the literature. So we're going to play some Aronmix. Okay, I'm gonna end it at like 1:40 in about a minute. I just wanted to say thank you for being here. And I appreciate everyone for being here and hanging out here with me and listening and just being part of this. And so, so leave some comments. Let me know if you got anything or what you got out of this. And I appreciate it. So I wanted to, it's actually before I started this before lunch, so I could get this out and start actually. I haven't even posted the introduction on this, and I want to get that out soon. So at least get that out soon. So I can't do that until I get all of these done. So anyway, on that cheery note, thank you all for being here, and have a good rest of your day. Thank you.